legacy is before it was headlines, it was prophecy. And I'm your host, Katie Elizabeth. As these end of days continue to unfold and so many headlines just cause you to stop and scratch your head, keep in mind the naysayers and the skeptics have always had names for the watchmen. And they've not been very complimentary names, for sure. These days are no different. I realize there are some over-anxious warnings, or I should say they may sound as if they are jumping the gun, but preparing does take time. It truly does. I'm on my going into my 9th year in preparation, and I don't consider myself having been slack, but there's been a lot to learn and a lot to discover and a lot to put into place. And that's not to say I'm operating on works. That is to say we need the knowledge. I'm just being obedient to what I'm hearing and understanding. And whether that's, a better way to plant a garden and maintain livestock, according to Torah, or even, off the grid plans, as well as planting fruit trees and learning, when the land is to rest. I've had a lot to learn because, to be really honest, I haven't been able to find until recently, very recently, in the last, say, 3 years. But until then, I really couldn't find people that were Torah observant and simplifying, living off the land. It's not to say they weren't, but, 3 years ago, I'm sure a whole lot of us thought, where are the others? Well, now we're coming across each other. And Yeshua didn't say to be ready for no reason. And he didn't say we had to prepare to pick up manna. No, he said be ready. And he also said to occupy, which is to take care of business. That is what occupy means. Carry on the business of being a witness unto him. And it's time to get serious. I spoke with someone just, a couple of hours ago about the urgency they're feeling. And one of the contributors of the Goshen Gazette also has pointed out some troubling facts throughout our country. I mean, and we're talking, basic natural resources that we need. I'm not talking about luxuries. I'm talking about necessities. It's time to get serious, and I'm not talking the prepper survivalism, but it is time to think beyond ourselves and our own needs and consider what are we preparing to offer to be a witness unto Yeshua as these end of days continue to unfold. We also need to keep in mind that, the riders on the horses, as they're released and gaining momentum across the earth, there's going to be a lot of people doing all kinds of demon dances and teachings about things that are truly unfolding because those riders who have been released by Yeshua are fulfilling that prophecy. So that's also a fine line and a narrow road. And I'm not talking about becoming a survivalist, but rather being in our Heavenly Father's plan to fulfill the purpose He's ordained. We were, we were born at this time. I think of the book of Esther a lot. Purim is coming up, and, for such a time as this, He put us in place at this time. We were created. He knew us before He formed us. And this is the time we are to let our light shine and be a witness unto Yeshua. Now, how many people who call themselves believers are just making sure they have networked properly? And there are some. And how many plan to have a place to go and show up with, hopefully the shirt on their back, but full of knowledge? There is so much net straining right now over... As I watch some of these discussions and, forums boards and all that sort of thing, I mean, it's like, when there is no grid, day and night is not going to be something to argue about. You're going to have to work through the daylight. And you're not going to be able to see at night because there will be reasons to conserve the light that we do manage to come up with. I mean, there are a lot of practical things that we're just choosing. We're just choosing to cause, to allow it to cause strife right now. And the day is coming when we're going to have to face our circumstances and know this, we are called to bring glory and honor to our Creator and to bear witness unto His Son. I began blogging 9 years ago, right before I moved, as a matter of fact. That's interesting. I just now thought of that. But, at that point, I'd already decided to boycott Walmart over the RFID, the microchips and the tags and things. And I retired my passport over the fact that the renewal would also contain a chip. I don't know if the RFID chip is the mark of the beast. I don't know that. I just know I don't want one in my body or in my animals. And I'll do the best I can to not bring them into my home. I'm not saying this is it. I'm saying I know it's one step closer. As electronic data collecting continues to expand and invade, I've sounded the warning. Not that it's suddenly going to overtake us tomorrow. I think that's one of the most dangerous, quote, doctrines of man, the traditions. It's like we're going to wake up one day with this big, huge, alarm sounding that today's the day it all starts. That's not the case. It's going to continue to be incrementally introduced to desensitize us. That's what's happening. As the self-serving, often seeming like something between clandestine paranoia and reality show wannabes, the prepping continues. But I don't think that's what Messiah meant when he said, be ready. We're supposed to be servants. The servant is not greater than the master. Tell me, as the troubles were coming, even back then, you didn't see him teach the disciples to go prepare their own little place for family. As a matter of fact, he said, no, you get out there. The Revelation tells us many things about the end of days, but two things specifically regarding Torah-observant followers of Messiah. There'll be martyrs, and there will be his mark on 144,000. No one alive right now has any idea how much more will take place. And nobody knows the official first day of the terrible tribulation, such as the world has never seen. But there are many, even those claiming to believe, who are simply not choosing to heed the warning and be ready. Paul wrote to Timothy in the second letter and said, yea, and all that will live godly in Messiah Yeshua shall suffer persecution. We're starting to see some signs of that. But here in America, it's still, just debates over, the market square and sports. We haven't seen anything yet. But we are to be prepared. We are to continue to be preparing and to occupy. And I think we've been so accustomed to thinking, we're just this amazing nation that is just always right, and we need to realize we're not. We're just not. And we're not prepared. This has been Before It Was Headlines, It Was Prophecy. I'm Katie Elizabeth.